Ever pondered how crucial planning and managing a construction project can be? Well, let's delve into this fascinating world. In the realm of construction, planning is the cornerstone that holds everything together. It's the blueprint that guides every brick laid and every nail hammered. Without it, we're merely fumbling in the dark, hoping to stumble upon success. But why is planning so important, you may wonder? Well, think of a construction project as a jigsaw puzzle. Each piece represents a task that needs to be completed. Now imagine trying to put this puzzle together without having the picture on the box. That's what it's like to embark on a construction project without proper planning. Moreover, planning isn't just about organizing tasks. It's about predicting the unseen, foreseeing potential obstacles, and preparing for them. It's about ensuring that all the gears in the construction machine run smoothly together. It's about laying a solid foundation upon which a sturdy structure can be built. Now let's talk about managing. If planning is the blueprint, then managing is the skillful hands that bring this blueprint to life. It's the act of making sure that every task is executed correctly and on time. It's about coordinating teams, managing resources, and keeping everything on track. And just like planning, managing is also a deciding factor between success and failure in construction. So we've established that planning and managing are vital, but how can we make them more efficient? Here's where the concept of additional information comes into play. Think of it as the secret ingredient that can turn a good plan into a great one. It can include various elements such as the value of each activity, its cost, and resource requirements. These pieces of information can give us a more detailed picture of the project, allowing us to plan and manage more effectively. They can help us allocate resources more efficiently, predict costs more accurately, and ultimately, build better. So, planning and managing form the backbone of any construction project. But how do we leverage additional information to make it more efficient? Let's dive deeper. Imagine building a house without knowing the value of each task. Sounds challenging, right? Think about it. Every task in a project, from the smallest to the largest, has a value. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, where each piece carries a unique significance. In project planning, this significance is known as the activity value. It's not just about the monetary worth, but the overall importance of each task in relation to the project's success. So, what does activity value represent? In essence, it's an evaluation of the worth of each task in a project. It could be the time saved, the resources utilized, or the potential revenue generated. It's a measure that helps in determining the impact of each activity on the project's outcome. For instance, in building a house, the task of laying the foundation has a high activity value. Why? Because without a solid foundation, the rest of the construction could be compromised. It's not just about the cost involved, but the potential risk and the importance of the task in the overall project. Now, how does activity value help in prioritizing tasks? It's simple. By understanding the value of each activity, project managers can prioritize tasks that bring the most value to the project. It's like a guiding compass, helping navigate through the sea of tasks and making sure the most valuable ones are completed first. Let's take another example. Suppose a project involves designing a new software. The task of coding the software's core functionality would have a high activity value. Why? Because without this core functionality, the software wouldn't work as intended. Therefore, this task becomes a priority, pushing it to the top of the to-do list. In conclusion, the concept of activity value is not just a number or a ranking. It's a critical component of project planning that represents the worth of each task. It's a tool that aids in decision-making, allowing project managers to focus on tasks that contribute the most to the project's success. Understanding the value of each activity allows project managers to make informed decisions and prioritize tasks effectively. Now imagine setting out on a journey without knowing how much fuel you'll need. Sounds risky, right? Just like a road trip, every construction project comes with its own unique terrain. It's an expedition where you'll meet mountains of costs and rivers of resources. And one of the primary factors that can make or break this journey is the cost of each activity involved. Let's unpack the concept of activity cost. It's the total expenditure that is expected to be incurred for a particular task or operation during the construction process. This could include the cost of labor, materials, equipment, and even any necessary permits. So, let's say we have an activity like laying the foundation. The cost of this activity would include the expense of cement, steel, labor, and possibly renting or purchasing machinery. Why is knowing this cost crucial? Well, understanding the cost of each activity forms the backbone of budgeting. It provides a financial blueprint for the project and helps establish a realistic budget. For instance, consider a construction project with an estimated total cost of $1 million. If we don't break down this cost into individual activities, we'll have no way of knowing if we're overspending on one task while underspending on another. By identifying the cost of each activity, we can allocate the budget more efficiently and ensure that every dollar is spent wisely. And there's more. Activity cost doesn't just contribute to budgeting, it's also a key player in risk management. By knowing the cost of each activity, we can identify potential financial risks and take proactive steps to mitigate them. For example, if we know that the cost of steel has a tendency to fluctuate, we can plan for this uncertainty ahead of time, either by allocating a contingency fund or by locking in prices with suppliers. In essence, activity cost is like a compass guiding us through the financial landscape of a construction project. It helps us navigate the budget, manage risks, and ensure that the project is completed successfully. Keeping track of activity costs helps in maintaining the budget and mitigating risks in construction projects. So, before embarking on your construction journey, make sure you've calculated the cost of every activity. It might just be the difference between a successful project and a financial sinkhole. Have you ever tried to paint a picture without knowing what colors you need? Pretty impossible, isn't it? Just like you need the right colors to create your masterpiece, project planning requires a clear understanding of the resources necessary to execute each activity. This concept is known as activity resource requirements. It's the backbone of efficient project management, ensuring that the right resources are available exactly when you need them. Think of a construction project. You've got a timeline, a list of activities, and a dream to build something great. But without knowing your resource requirements, you may as well be painting in the dark. Let's say you've planned to pour the foundation on day one. But what if you haven't accounted for the concrete mixers, the manpower, or the weather conditions? Without these resources, your project could come to a standstill. Now, let's consider a software development project. It's not just about coding, is it? You need skilled developers, a robust testing environment, and efficient project management tools. Each of these is a resource requirement. Without them, your project risks running over time or over budget. Resource requirements go beyond just materials and manpower. They can also include time, technology, and even knowledge. For example, if an activity requires specialized skills, like designing a complex architectural feature, you'll need to ensure you have an architect with that specific expertise on your team. By identifying and understanding these resource requirements, you can plan and allocate resources more efficiently. You can avoid delays and cost overruns, and you can ensure that every activity is executed smoothly and successfully. Remember, every activity in your project is like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and each piece needs the right resources to fit perfectly into the big picture. By understanding your resource requirements, you can ensure that each piece falls into place at the right time, with the right resources, keeping your project on track and paving the way for success. Understanding resource requirements ensures that the project runs smoothly without any hiccups. So, we've seen how each piece of additional information plays a pivotal role in planning and managing a construction project. But how do they all come together? Well, let's start with the value of an activity. Knowing the worth of each task gives us a clear understanding of its significance to the project. It's like a compass, guiding us to prioritize tasks that deliver the most value. It helps us to stay focused on what matters the most and avoid getting caught up in less critical tasks. Then we have the cost of activity. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's all well and good to know the value of a task, but without a grip on the cost, we're flying blind. Understanding the cost allows us to allocate resources wisely, manage our budget effectively, and avoid nasty surprises down the line. Next, we consider the resource requirements of each activity. Knowing what resources are needed, when they're needed, and in what quantity is like having a crystal ball. It allows us to anticipate needs, plan ahead, and ensure that everything is in place when it's needed. This not only prevents delays, but also helps to keep costs under control. So we've got the value of an activity, the cost, and the resource requirements. Each piece of information is critical in its own right. But when they come together, they form a powerful tool that enables effective project planning and management. Imagine a jigsaw puzzle. Each piece on its own may not make much sense, but when they're all put together, they form a clear and coherent picture. The same is true for these pieces of additional information. They each provide a piece of the project puzzle. And when they're all pieced together, they provide a comprehensive picture of the project, enabling us to plan effectively, manage efficiently, and navigate our way to a successful project completion. With the right information at hand, project planners can make informed decisions, manage their resources more effectively, and ultimately drive the project towards success.